This is a Super Mario 64 Creepypasta. I always liked Super Mario 64 when I was a kid. I remember playing it at my aunt's house all the time. But one day a pop-up appeared out of nowhere and as I was watching gameplay footage on YouTube. I was a little startled and I was about to close the window until I realized there was a website showing a mint condition copy of Super Mario 64 for sale. There was a picture and everything. I usually don't really trust these things, but the feeling of nostalgia overpowered me, and I wanted to buy it. The whole business was particular, seeing as how the owner of the game wanted the buyer to send a envelope containing $10 to an address on the site, instead of using something like PayPal. What made things even strange when I tried to gain access to the website, after encountering problems with the game, the page was nowhere to be found. A few days after the $10 was mailed, I got a package containing with a new copy of the game. The first thing I noticed when I opened the small box was that the official sticker with Mario flying into the air was apparently peeled off or something. In its place was a piece of duct tape with Mario crudely written on it with permanent marker. I felt a little ripped off, but as long as the game worked, I didn't care. I got out my N64 and put the cartridge in. The screen turned on with the familiar Mario face that you can stretch and twist aimlessly. I remember laughing at the result as a kid at the time, and decided to mess around with it for old time's sake. I moved the cursor over to Mario's ear and pulled it to 11 positions. I was about to do the same thing with the other ear when the TV suddenly produced loud static. Mario's whole head began deforming and twisting in ways I didn't even know that was possible for the model. Random sounds, in fact, in the game started playing along with the static. As all this was occurring, I could hear a faint voice whispering in Japanese. The voice was stammering and whimpering. I immediately shut off the game and tried again. I didn't bother to mess with the Mario head this time. I just selected a new file and started playing. When I selected the file, the game skipped the open monologue by Peach in the courtyard outside. Mario was just placed right inside the castle. Creepier still, Bowser didn't say anything either. I tried to endure it and played anyway. Uh, However, I also noticed that there were no music, just dead silence. There weren't even any toads around to talk to. The only door I could enter was Bomb Battlefield. The other doors wouldn't even respond to my button commands. The portrait to Bomb Battlefield wasn't just the usual picture. It was just a stark white canvas. I was just trying to convince myself that these were just minor game glitches, and these wouldn't affect the gameplay at all. Once I entered the portrait, the image went from a blank canvas to the lethal lava land painting. You know, the unsettling image of the flame with the evil smile. Yeah, that's when I started really getting suspicious. The mission select menu came out, and yet another weird detail was present. It said the big bomb on the summit mission. The mission was called Turn Back. I had no idea what drove me to press A, but I did. The level seemed completely normal. Everything was how I remember it. But I thought I could finally enjoy my favorite childhood game. But I saw him, Luigi. I was absolutely shocked. He was never in this game. His model wasn't even a Mario palette swap. He looked like a completely original model. Luigi just stood there and tried to approach until I tried to approach him. He started running at unexpected speeds. I followed suit and went through the level. Strange things have happened as I pursued him. Each time I picked up a coin, the enemies and music would get slower, and the scenery would just get darker and color more morbid. It kept gradually getting worse until I collected the fifth coin. Then the music just stopped. The enemies laid down on the ground like if they were dead. I was seriously freaked out, but I kept chasing Luigi. I went up to the hill. No cannonballs trying to knock me down. I wasn't even surprised at this point. Luigi just ran out of my sight. Once I reached the summit, I saw yet another object out of place. A small cottage that seemed to be at the top of the hill. Luigi was nowhere to be found. The cottage was certainly odd looking for a Mario game, which is plain old and broken down. Regardless of my fears at the moment, I had Mario enter the cottage. As soon as the door closed, a disturbing picture of a hanged Luigi immediately popped up, along with a very frightening scare chord. It sounded like a violin screech accompanied by a loud piano banging. Mario fell to his knees and sobbed for roughly 5 minutes until the scream erased out. I returned to the castle. Mario just slumped out of the painting. The image switched from the lethal Loveland portrait to the image of Luigi hanging himself. The room was different this time. It was now a small hallway closed with blank expressions and white rows lined its sides. There was another painting at the opposite end that completely utterly scared me. It was a photo of my family. It wasn't even a photo from the time Super Mario 64 was released. It was a very, very recent photo. I remember posting it for this last weekend. I reached for the on-off switch on the N64. There was no way I was able to play this anymore. However, when I flipped the system off, the game was still on. I flipped it back and forth, but to no avail. I tried to unplug the whole system, but the game kept playing. I was even still able to control Mario. I couldn't just leave it on forever, so I decided to keep playing. I went into the portrait of my family and jumped in. Only one mission was available, of course. This one was called Run, Don't Walk. I selected it. Let's go. The level started in a flooded hallway with platforms floating on the water. Mario landed on one of them, and the camera turned to show what was behind. A silent black void was slowly approaching Mario. It didn't look like anything. It didn't even look like it had finished graphics. Just a giant black blob. I started running, jumping from platform to platform with no goal in sight. I kept running. The darkness slowly but surely gained speed. This kept going on for felt like hours. I was really doubting that there might be an end. Mario was just going in circles, following the black blob void thing, caught up with Mario and enveloped him in darkness. He didn't scream or resist. It just consumed him. Mario fell out of the painting and back into the castle. I lost one of my 3 lives. The room was different now. Some of the toes were gone, and the painting looked completely different. My family and I were in the same positions, but our bodies were partially decomposed. It looked too real to be photoshopped. It looked like someone had taken our dead bodies and posed them. Regardless, I jumped into the painting again. Mario was in a small room. There was only one mission available. It was called I'm Right Here, spelled just like that. I selected it and prepared for the worst. Mario went in a small dark room. There was no visible way out. The room was empty except Mario. The- I know what that meant. I was stuck here with the mad piano. I approached it and started chasing me as always. There was no way to damage it, so I had no choice but to let Mario take damage. When he lost all of his health, the usual death animation didn't happen. Mario got mauled by the piano as he fell as his blood and guts spilled onto the floor. And the camera panned onto a top-down view of his corpse. A distorted version of the merry-go-round music from Big Boo's Haunt started to play as the screen slowly transitioned from the in-game shot to a photorealistic sketch of Mario's dead body in the same view of the shot. It was very unsettling. I cried softly as I gazed upon the image. I lost another life. The photo of my family was shown again. We were even more rotting than before. The view zoomed in onto the painting like I was warping again. I was greeted with a shot of Peach's castle from the outside. The castle was crumbling and ruined. The fields were on fire. The sky was pitch black. Bowser's laugh played on a loop in the background as children mocked, chanting, "You couldn't save her." This went on for a long time until a close-up of Peach's face, accompanied by a loud screech noise, interrupted the loop. Without notice, Peach's mouth was wide open, as if she was screaming, and her eyes were empty black holes. Suddenly, I was back in the hallway as Mario was once again ejected out from the painting. Now all the toads were gone, and me and my family looked positively repulsive. Maggots were wriggling around in holes under our flesh. Guts were spilling out of our bodies. My dad's eyeball was hanging loose from its socket. It was too much to bear, but something still urged me to trudge on. I jumped into painting with only one wife remaining. This time there was no mission for the name, just a blank space where the title would have been. I selected it, and Mori landed on a very small island in the middle of an ocean. There was a solitary sign. It only read dive. As I did, I entered the water. The ocean was dark and empty. There were no fish. I wasn't able to see anything besides Mario. I swam downwards, and I kept going for quite some time. Yet Mario never ran out of breath. I counted roughly 10 minutes of swimming until I decided to go back up. Just as I turned Mario around, it came, a huge, and I mean huge, Iwani, the eel, came out of nowhere and swallowed Mario whole. I was dumbfounded. It went by so fast I wasn't even sure what I've seen. The game over screen didn't show up, and all this time it was a fade out. The photo of my family was and I was shown again. We're just plain skeletons now. Only again it looked very real. I couldn't move the camera at all. It just stayed focused on the picture. I shut off the game and turned it on again. I chose my file, but still kept going to the skeleton photo of my family. I just read about a few more times before giving up. I desperately wanted to stop, but some force kept me from walking away. I decided to select the only other save file. The camera once again focused on the skeleton picture, but they were in a different position, as if they were a different family. This has been credited to Programmer664. This was originally uploaded on August 15, 2010.